esoteric. Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
That one can make the link between Jews and Christians.
What's the name
really
of this
links.
paper? I would like to read it.
It is called A Curious Ancient Astrological Confluence. I did it in about 4 years ago, and it's looking at a particular stela that was found on a monument called Nimrut Dağ in Turkey, or what is known as Anatolia, or also known as, Anatolia means, quote, the East. So when the wise men said, we saw his star in the East, they meant we saw his star while we were in Anatolia. That's what they meant. And so this lion, this chiseling of a frieze or a stela into this stone.
Stela is lapid.
It depicts an anomalous star that these three wise men, and there were three wise men who actually stationed Nimrut Dağ during these days from about, I believe it was about 64 BC to about 11 AD. Three wise men stationed that observation point, and they were assigned to look for a star, curiously, under the Persian, Macedonian, and one other tradition. But
wow,
third tradition. So they were called magicians or magi. So they chiseled into this stone known as the Leo Regulus Stela at Nimrut Dağ, an anomalous star that appeared in the crescent moon at that time, and that the timing of that star actually fits the chronology of the birth of Christ very, very well, down to the month, almost even half month of interval. So I did a research article on that. I had been researching that for a good 15 years, and it finally clicked all together. It really outlines, there are three, I guess, entities that we discuss here. One is, we mentioned it already, Messiah. That was in the Davidic tradition. That was a conquering hero and one of many who was to come and help free Israel from Rome. That was the Davidic Messiah. Then there's a second entity that's a broader concept across the Levant and into Europe and across Anatolia, and that was known as the Son of God. It was more of a Mithraic tradition in that God had a senior role as pater, or father, if you will, and then had a son or sons that executed his will on earth. So the Son of God was a second Messiah that was being foretold, or what is known as the Christ. And then finally, the tradition that predates really all of that was let's see what it was. It was a Yamnayan or Avestan tradition that was from 4700 BCE, and it was called the Sushant in their vernacular, but it was known and interpreted as the Son of Man. So the Son of Man was the third. So we have three entities that we're discussing: the Mashiach. We have the Son of God in the Greek tradition.
You forgot the Mahdi, huh? You forgot the Mahdi.
And then the Mahdi would be the Islamic. And then finally, the Son of Man is the third. Interestingly, Jesus did not refer to himself as the Son of God, and certainly not. Messiah was a colloquial term, so every once in a while he would fit in that. But he exclusively, and I believe it was 78 to 83 references he made of himself, he exclusively referred to him in the role of the Sushant, or the Son of Man, which is an Avestan tradition that predates all of Islam, Christianity, Sumer, Babylon.
And what would that mean, the Son of Man? I mean, aren't we all the Son of Man?
Son of Man means, it was one in the Avestan tradition that means roughly one who brings salvation. He's not merely a Messiah, which is an anointed leader. Messiah means anointed, but he's a cosmic actor, someone who comes in from off earth, from outside, and comes in to displace a kingdom that unjustly rules on a planet, if you will. It comes back with the resurrection of the dead, a final judgment, or a thing called the Frasha Kareti, the renovation of the world, and takes an errant planet, a wayward planet, or maybe one that's flipping over every once in a while, and turns it into a habitable world that is free and becomes part of the broader galaxy or universe.
Roger, are you a religious person? I mean, do you believe in the things you were saying? I mean,
it's a mixed bag. Intellectually, I'm what is called an agnostic atheist. If it's not Wittgenstein, we mentioned Ludwig Wittgenstein earlier. If it's not defined in Wittgenstein terms, I can't believe in it because it doesn't really have a definition. So the terms that we toss around in religion don't have a lot of meaning. They make you feel good, but in terms of intellect, they don't actually have any definable components. I don't know whether I can believe in them or not. That's an agnostic atheism. It's a resignation until we get better definitions. However, with regard to spirituality, I have direct experience in many aspects of spirituality and if you will, encountering dark entities and understanding the hierarchy that's entailed there. And there is a reality to that. It's absolutely a pecking order between species and broader species that used to inhabit the earth, and they do exist. So you have to reconcile that reality with that intellect. So spiritually, I believe in the role of a sociant or son of man, absolutely, as a rescuing a redeemer for the planet, absolutely. Yeah.
Can you tell us about your experience with these dark energies? And I would like to know why you call them dark. Is it like as in dark matter, as in something invisible, or
I don't want to go into the details, but they are definitely they're one-trick pony. They're very habitual. They do not have free will in the sense that we have. They are subsets of this universe. They are enslaved to their addiction, and that addiction is to dark energy that we exude. They love to suck energy off of us, but that's the only way they exist. That's the only way they survive, is through the grace of the energy that comes through us. And that circumstance can't sustain forever. It has to end at some point.
So you believe that these entities inhabit the same world as us, but maybe on another dimension, like they are physically here, but imperceptible to us, or to most of us?
They're physically with us, but they reside in some other medium or dimension, depending on the term you use. I don't have a Wittgenstein definition again of those terms, but they exist coincident with us. They hate us with a passion. And if we were destined for bad, if we were destined to bad things, they wouldn't give a flip about us. But it's our privilege that we've been granted as humans that causes them to hate us as siblings, if you will, sibling rivalry, if you will. And it's clear in the experiences I've had, these entities hate us with a passion, but they are extremely terrified of an individual who knows and understands the grace that is offered humankind. Unfairly, probably, because we don't deserve it, but we are given grace and power that these beings are terrified of. And
okay, two questions. These beings would have been made by the same God that made us?
Well, indirectly, yes, but in the roles we're playing out right now, that's somewhat moot. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the ultimate ontology, if you will, the nature of their being. I do know that they're enslaved to their addiction. They can't rebel from it. They have to serve their master, which is the hierarchy, and they hate us with a passion. Those things are givens, and they know that they're about to be displaced from the planet. They're keenly aware of that. That's one of our indigo indicators, is the panic on the part of these dark forces and those who serve them on the earth.
And their main difference from us would be that they don't have free will? Is that what you just said?
They don't have free will. They I don't know if they can manifest in bodies. I suspect they can, but I don't know the answer to that. All I do know is that they're caught here, they're embargoed here, they're trapped here on Earth with us, and they are destined for they're headed to a destination they don't want to go to, and that's coming either sooner or later. But I think it's sooner. That's one of those indigo indicators.
Wow, I would have never guessed you for someone who believes in something like that. I'm surprised. Do you write about this? Have you written?
I do. I allude to it across maybe 15 to 20 articles at the Ethical Skeptic, but I'll only reveal a piece of it in each article. So if you read one article, you won't pick up on it. But if you read 15 or 20 articles, then you'll pick up the cosmology that I'm relating. And it
dark forces you just mentioned. I mean, or is it the good part of pop?
After being a custodian of nuclear warheads and holder of the nuclear codes, I began to get the suspicion that these weapons are not for a conflict between China, Russia, and the U.S.
Wow.
I don't think they are. I think they're a fail-safe. I think that whatever it is so terrified of this intervention, and this is speculation. This is not something I've derived from an epistemology, although part of it is a derivation. It's an inference from epistemology, but it's speculation for the most part. I think that our chemical, our biological, radiological, our nuclear weapons, that whole genre of exotic weapons is not for a conflict between Russia and the United States or China and the United States. It's a fail-safe option. The reach of these missiles is global and then some, and able to destroy us 15 times over. The purpose of those weapons, I think, is a statement on behalf of these dark forces saying, if you intervene to remove us, we're at our wits' end. We're at the end of our rope, the bitter end, as they call it in the Navy. We're at the bitter end of our rope, and we're willing to fight to the death. And if you intervene, we'll destroy these humans that you consider so precious and so valuable over us. And we'll destroy every single one of them if you try and intervene. And that's what I think is possibly the use of these nuclear weapons, is a deterrent for outside the planet intervention.
Sorry, but I don't know if I understood. So it would be a deterrent against not a human race, but like a foreign invasion, let's say an alien invasion.
If the Seshyant, or the Son of Man, came in the sky with a rather large military force and intervened on the behalf of mankind, which is basically, that's what he says in the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is a prayer for the overthrow of the kingdom that rules this earth. We just don't get to see it that way. They interpreted the language in a watered down format or version. If that event happens, I'm contending that it's possible that our nuclear and exotic weapons are a fail-safe for that. Not that they can win the war against these entities. They can't. They don't have the ability. But that they would destroy us. In other words, they're holding mankind hostage to protect themselves. They would destroy us before they would allow themselves to be placed off the planet. So hence the reason why there's this incredible interest between anomalous craft and our nuclear weapons storage bunkers and launch silos. Hundreds of incidents where UFOs, UAP have come and tampered with, shut down, and put into alert Delta launch status, alert launch status, our weapons, and then scaled them back down just to test and make sure they have control of those weapons themselves. That is not just them figuring out what we're doing. That's not a test to figure out what are the humans up to. That is a test of a control system that they already have in place. That was an op test. It was not research. Mm-hmm. So, or those incidents, just like that family group of close encounter, third kind, I guess, or second kind close encounter instances, those are op tests. They're characteristic op tests. That's not research. They're testing a system they have control of. So you believe we're going to be visited by aliens? I think it's a possibility, but I don't want to call it a belief. The B word just gets everybody polarized, and it cultivates ignorance. It is part inference from an epistemology and is part speculation, but it is strong suspicion, if you will.